right, we should be good to go. This is the next episode of First and Framerates, and so far I'm solo. DJ is not going to be here until a little bit later, which is fine. And you know, it is what it is. So he's working now, so that's how that's going to go. So I'm going to wait a few seconds. I'm gonna make sure this is up and running. Sounds good on my end. And let's see. Okay. Yeah, all right. Let's see. All right, got that up and running. Okay, this is First and Frame Rates, episode 120. Myself, DJ 81 is going to be here shortly. Bills, I haven't heard from Bills all week, so maybe he probably is busy with his music like he usually is. No worries. It is what it is. That's how it be. That's how we roll. And hopefully, the door's always open for him to come in. But as of right now, it's just gonna be me solo. Like I said, this is episode 120, and today we have the following topics. We're going to be talking about the XFL Week 2. We're going to talk about the Astros Backlash, and with all the stuff that these guys that are playing for the Astros, what they're saying, and whatever the case may be. And we're also going to look into the PlayStation 5 and the issues they have with pricing. As of right now, they don't have anything going on with their pricing mechanic because they don't know what the Xbox Series X is going to do. So with that being said, they're trying to hold off on their pricing, and once they get that confirmation, it's fine. A lot of people know that it's been put out there that it costs around $450 to make the Xbox. I'm no sorry, the PlayStation 5. So it's gonna be pretty interesting to see if what price is going to be. I think there was somewhere around somebody said that this is around the average of all the other prices of the consoles that PlayStation put out or something like that. So, but we're gonna get into all that. Nevertheless, if you haven't already, you can catch us on iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Podcasts. We're all over the place now. Just go to your favorite search engine, and you can Google us there. Also, you can find us on Twitter. The Twitter handles are down in the description of the podcast information. You can find all of us there. Also, you can join our Discord. The Discord, also just search First and Frame Rates Discord. You can find us there as well. So, like I said, as of right now, DJ has a new job. So DJ is going to be working a schedule that's somewhat conflicting with the time he gets off compared to the time that he actually can get here live. So it's going to be pretty tight for him to get in and out of the of his job and be here when we first start. But nevertheless, this is a 3-man group most of the time. But I am the founder of the podcast. I am VF Baller. You can always find me here on this channel as well as on Twitch and Twitter. So that's where I will be. You can always find me there. Obi-Wan in the chat, what's going on? How you doing? I appreciate you coming through. I'm putting something in the chat. Thank you everyone for the support. Absolutely. The last video that I did on the game guide of San Andreas, a lot of people came through and had their memories, and they refreshed their memories and talked about their time with the game. I love stuff like that. I got more of that to come as well. So appreciate the love for the podcast and the content that I put out there. So that will definitely work. DJ just walked in the door, and he's here now. So just got started with the intro. So for me, I already did my intro, and you can go ahead and let everybody know what's going on with you, DJ.
Well, nothing much. I'm a little tired, so I'm probably be a little bit low energy, but not too low energy because we know what happened this past Saturday.
Yeah, it's
Just letting y'all know.
a lot of good games happen. A lot of good games, but you know,
Yes,
one bad call don't spoil the entire week. But
shoot, and
it's all good.
one donut don't spoil a bunch either. I'll give
Face, what's going on, man? What's happening with you?
the New York greeting for get the hell out of my city. I'll say that later.
Right. Yeah. Like I said earlier, we're gonna talk about the XFL week two. Definitely. I mean that league is just taking off and it started to have a life of its own. Like this week, I noticed not too many people actually try to compare it to the NFL now. I think that whole group of people, 7 or 8 people that's on Twitter, I think that kind of died down now. So people are actually letting this league have a life of its own, and it's creating its own life as well. So that helps. Also, we're going to talk about the Astros. Their players can't keep their mouth shut. And we're going to talk about
Boy.
yeah, we're going to talk about the PlayStation 5. We're going to talk about the pricing of that. So just a little recap of the topics. As for myself, I did my quick intro about who I am and what I am for anybody who's new listening. But this weekend, I've done a lot of good things as far as gaming. I actually took the dust off of some of these consoles that I have because I just have them to sit here sometimes. But I have a lot of games for every single console I have, so I've been playing some different stuff, and I also got 2K20 on PC. It was like $20, so I got that as well. So I played some of that.
Good deal.
Yeah, I got it for a pretty good price. So I played that. I am impressed with the game. I can't rate it based on what it was at launch because I didn't get it until now. But what it is right now, I like what I see. Um, I had fun playing it, and I've been playing other games as well. I put on Twitter that I've been playing NBA Hang Time, and that game is just timeless. And it just I just been playing games and just falling back and just enjoying because a lot of people don't do that. But nevertheless,
Yeah, because
uh,
just to throw my 2 cents in there, I've dusted off a couple of games that I'm playing at the same time because I'm in this whole Lord of the Rings Middle Earth kick, watching the movies, especially the extended versions and the Hobbit trilogy. So Shadow of Mordor and Shadow of War have been getting a lot of play as of late.
right, I'm going to do a video on that because I think a lot of people, and I blame a lot of YouTube personalities for this, and I mean they're very persuasive. They're easily they can easily manipulate people to do things that they should not be doing when it comes to gaming. And I think that's
Mm-hmm.
something that nobody talks about. And it's not any shade to any YouTubers because the YouTubers are doing this for for their content. They're doing it for their likes and the views, and there's nothing wrong with that. But the problem is a lot of people look at this stuff and they idolize it instead of just taking it as information. And I think there's a lot of people I watch them for information. I don't watch them to say, "Oh, I need to do that because he said that." But that's what a lot of people are doing. And I'm gonna be honest with you. Now, I can get deep in this. I mean, that's a lot of reasons why Madden is perceived the way it is to a lot of folks because of that. Is it right or wrong? I'm not. I'm
Well,
not gonna be here to say that.
especially when you got prominent YouTubers referring to other YouTubers that make repetitive videos on it and use that as their claim to go against any opinion that someone like myself would have. When my opinion is pretty much a more even balance. Like, you know what? I see what he's doing, but at the same time, I have my different view. We balance the two, and we just work on it from there. So,
DJ, when you press the power button on your console, the main thing a person needs to have, especially if it's a game that they want to play, because a lot of people want to play these games,
mm-hmm.
but when they press that power button, they need to just have an open mind and just be honest with themselves when they're playing the game. When they do that, you will genuinely have fun. There are some people out there, and it's not even talking about Madden. It's just talking about like any other game. Some
Mm-hmm.
people buy these games with the preconceived notion of what they heard already. So they're already looking for what they heard instead of actually going in and playing the game for what it is or what they're looking for when they press the power button. Like some people, for example, some people press the button to look for, they press the power button to actually have fun with the game compared to I'm pressing the power button to think about what somebody else already said about this game. your whole notion about the game is out the window already. Because to me, gaming is a personal satisfaction, bar none.
Well,
It
I
is. I don't see where else it is. It's a personal satisfaction.
the way I see it is that with the advent of social media, it's those days are pretty much gone where you'll get a game and just enjoy it or not enjoy it based on your own experience. You with Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, any other platforms, you're already and the fact that people are getting these games early. So you put those two together, and you'll honestly will not have that pure experience unless you just shut everything down. Like you turn your phone off, you stay off social media, get the game that you want to get, and then if you don't like it, you still have a return policy unless you did it digitally. And I think, what's it,
So
Steam
some
on
yeah, so
PC? I think Steam
yeah,
has a return
Steam. I
policy for
think
digital
yeah, I
products.
think Steam and I think Xbox is starting a return policy for those as well.
Well, somebody needs to also ramp up the digital policy for trade-ins because
Right, but
yeah,
I think you know what, and I get it, and it's hard to shut everything down. Now, some people have done it. I've done it for The Last of Us too. I have not watched the trailer.
hmm
My wife watched the trailer. I have not watched the trailer. I muted all the words that is linked to Last of Us 2 on my Twitter. I do not want any influence of that game. And I'm not saying the game is gonna be bad. It's just that I just don't want any spoilers, anything that I don't want to know nothing going into the game. And I think that, if people do that for other games, I think we'll have uh, um I think we have more of an even keel because a lot of people like to just jump on an opinion and bandwagon an opinion.
well, then use it as a clickbait title in their impressions video or whatnot. So yeah, I'm like, they're gonna do what they're gonna do, but at the same time, fuck them.
No, I mean, I just think at the end of the day, just when you play video games, you have to understand what are you doing. You're playing games for personal satisfaction. Fuck what everybody else say.
hmm
If you decide to play Barbie Farm or Barbie Ranch on your PlayStation 4, if you decide to play any other of these kiddie bullshit games and you're at home by yourself doing it, nobody gives a fuck. You're having fun. That's all that matters. So I mean that's what I get it. That's why I'm so comfortable with playing an old console. I don't give a fuck what nobody say. They can say what they want. Oh, you playing that old Madden when I'm streaming? Well, hell yeah, I am because I like the game. What, you got a problem with it? Have a nice day. But nevertheless, let's get into these topics. Which one you want to touch on first?
Let's just take care of the elephant in the room. The XFL Week 2
Is
recap.
that really? Is that
Recap.
really? Is that really the elephant in the room, or
Well,
is the
there's an
Astros?
elephant, and then there's a damn. What was before the elephant? The damn, because I'm obviously trying. Well, we'll take care of the elephant in the room with the XFL, and we'll take care of the T-Rex in the room with the Astros,
Okay.
as I call them, assholes or cheating Astros. There we go. That could be another one. But yeah, we'll start with the elephant in the room, the XFL, and those
All right.
guardians
Let me pull
of
this up and
injustice.
let me pull this up so I can I want to get because they actually put the stats up in here now, so that's good.
Oh yeah, somebody was talking about it. They was like, we was looking for those box scores, and I couldn't find them. I was like, are you looking on XFL? Well, I didn't know because I tried to look week 1, and I couldn't find anything
Yeah,
even on
no,
the
they
site.
didn't have them week one. They just added them. All right, here we go right here. So week 2 we got the Guardians playing the Defenders. They lost 27. I mean, the Guardians lost 27-0.
They
Um,
shut them the fuck out.
So yeah, let's talk about that game first. So the Guardians actually played pretty good at week 1. Let's go back
hmm
and look at week 1. Week 1 they beat the Vipers 23-3, and they turn around and lay a goose egg against
Big
DC.
time
So
goose egg.
what are your thoughts? Since you're the DC fan, I'm gonna let you go ahead and talk about your team.
Well, this is the game that I was at work and just living vicariously through everyone on Discord every time I checked in. But then I also snuck in some online time just to see the updates as the score kept growing and the Guardians number stayed at 0. I was just thinking about all the trash talk that occurred on the previous Thursday, talking about New York was going to do this, New York was going to do that. Well, in the typical New York greeting, fuck out of here. Which I think was going to happen. DC wound up winning 27-0 on a defense that lived up to its name, the Defenders. And let's see, what was it? And McGlowan, oh man, you know what?
I'll pull up the stats right now.
Okay, yeah, I'm looking. Yeah, because I'm looking
here.
at the stats. Oh, I'm looking at the Battlehawks and the Roughnecks. I know you're going to take the lead on that game. Let me.
Yeah, so McGlowan had he was 8-19 for 42 yards.
Yeah,
and
but he then threw his team under the bus with the all access. You're like, we need to change the whole game plan. I was like, damn.
Yeah,
he's probably, game plan, my dude.
Yeah, he's probably gonna be missing next week's game. Williams. Yeah, Williams also 4 for 8. 50,
yeah, he came in.
51
he came
yards.
in. Got sacked by our new acquisition, Johnson. Towards the end. So I think overall it's just a fairly impressive game. Look at the receivers for the Defenders. Rocket Rashad led all DC receivers for 4 catches for 95 yards. Tompkins 6 catches, 92 yards, and he had a touchdown. But also Haywood had a touchdown as well. I know Eli Rogers looked like he was about to blow up. I know he had just experienced a loss, and the funeral was the same day of the game. So I think people were surprised that he was there, but he was definitely playing with a heavy heart.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Cardell Jones went 23 for 37, 62 completion percentage, 276 yards, 2 touchdowns, a pick on a 50-50 ball that could have not been an interception, and that should have been caught. And he had one play in particular where it looked like he was sacked, but he fumbled the ball before he fell to the ground. So for those that were trying to wonder what was going on, once you fumble the ball, I'm like, if you go down and try to scoop up the ball, you're no longer down. It's a live ball. You scoop it back up and do what you do. And he wound up scrambling and completed a pass for a first down at that. I'm like, there was another play that almost did the same exact thing in the Houston St. Louis game.
Right.
So, and then let's see, rushing was kind of modest, 12 attempts, 52 yards for
both teams. It was kind of mediocre.
Oh yeah. And then let's see, go to the defensive side of ball. So like everybody, tackles were pretty. Let's see, it was mostly high on
pretty much. It was pretty basic across the board as far as defense. I think at the end of the day, I don't think necessarily the Guardians did bad on defense. It's just their offense continuously put them in a bad spot, and that's basically what it was. The DC Defenders, their defense just put their offense in a terrible spot, and there's nothing, because when you look at these stats over here for the Guardians, they don't look bad. It's just that, when you're on the field, all that time, it's just that, you're going to give up points, and your offense can't do nothing on the back end. It's just going to happen. So, shout out to the DC Defenders. They did a great job of just stymieing their offense. They Guardians couldn't do anything.
But you know what the test is going to be? It's going to be our first road game next week against the Wildcats now. But I'm not underestimating the Wildcats. They showed a definite improvement. They could have beaten Dallas. But we'll talk about that later.
All right, let's jump to the next game. Vipers at the Sea Dragons.
Oh, this was scary because it looked like the Vipers were gonna pull away for a second, but the Sea Dragons and their home crowd, they really came through.
I think if anything, the most improved team was the Vipers. The Vipers looked really bad the week before, and they turned it around for the most part. The numbers don't show it, but if you see what they did on the field, they look like a lot better team than they did the week before.
Right.
So I mean, there's no winning in a loss, obviously, but if they continue to play like this, they can probably rack up a couple wins. The Sea Dragons on the other end, they actually did pretty well as far as defensively. They kind of held everything down on there, because offensively you don't see too much anything outside of these Reynolds with the 3 catches for 87
Yeah,
yards.
see that was another thing I was actually shocked because Pro was non-existent in this game. 4 targets, 1 reception for -1 yards.
Right. Right.
So
Yeah,
I
exactly.
don't know how they had them hemmed up, or if it wasn't in the game plan, that's on Jim Zorn because you want to definitely like Keenan Reynolds, good player, but Austin Pro should be the feature receiver on there. So maybe just a 1 game hiccup. We'll see what happens week 3.
Yeah, it could be. Because I mean, I'm looking at the distribution of the ball on the Tampa Bay Vipers. It looked really good, but they just could
Mm-hmm.
not get in the end zone as many times as they should have. Because if you look at these numbers, it looked like they should have had at least 20 points. But
Mm-hmm.
other than that, there's really nothing to see here. Seattle just can't keep this type of they can't keep this type of play going to win games. I mean, you look at what they had here on offense. That's just not winning football. I don't care if it's the NFL, XFL, or NCAA. You're just not going to be able to sustain that. Now on the back end, when we do look at the defense, we do see more numbers, more players in the stat column on
Mm-hmm.
defense, and that just goes to show that they've been doing a little bit more to keep the guys out of the end zone on for Tampa Bay. So it's just, I mean, you look at all these. Let's see, the tackles for loss is definitely telling right here. All the tackles for loss, they got 3 interceptions, and let's see, I don't passes defended. So when you look at what they have over here compared to what they have on Tampa Bay, it just shows you, like I said, defensively, they just kept them out of the end zone. I mean, you got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You have 11 tackles for loss. I mean, 11 tackles for loss, 3 quarterback hurries, and you have 1, 2, 3. You only got 4 sacks
Mm-hmm.
if you count the halves, which I kind of don't, but you got 4 sacks. I mean, you're not going to win any games like that. And Tampa Bay only had 2 sacks, and
Mm-hmm.
they had 1 pick. I mean, they had a handful of tackles for loss, but it's nowhere near to what Seattle had. So, like I said, the defense pretty much kept Tampa Bay at bay because offensively they should have had like 20 points, but because they did a lot. So, I just found that that was pretty interesting how that played out. Let's look at this Dallas and Renegades in the Wildcats game. Let's see, 25. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Oh, there we go. 25-18. Renegades over Los Angeles. Their quarterback situation's gotten better too. Because last week, whoever they had at quarterback for LA, he had to go. He was just terrible. But I will say Johnson played for the Redskins at one point.
Yep, he
He
played for a whole bunch of teams.
Yeah, he did. He really did. But
Yeah.
he played very good in this game. Him and couple of connections to Spruce. That 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 la-
I
that last connection
disagree.
to Spruce was like almost won that game for him. So
I disagree. I think Johnson he could his accuracy was questionable throughout because there were some passes that he should have made.
I can agree. I can agree. But at the end of the day, when you
Like
look
he
at the
didn't throw
whole,
any interceptions. That
that's
you
what I'm saying.
can't
If you
say
look,
that about Landry Jones because he
that's what I'm
threw
saying. If
two
you
of
look
them.
at, that's what I'm about to say. If you look at the whole body of work, even though he
Mm.
was inaccurate, he was effective. Now I know that may not make sense, but that's the truth. He he was inaccurate, but he was effective
But
because
you know what? It was where he was inaccurate. He was mostly inaccurate in the red zone. Like he can hit somebody for a long bomb and get them in, but you get him in the red zone with less room to work with. He was
right.
almost there, but not there.
Right, but I think really at the end of the day, the turning point of this game was Curtis Artis Payne. He ended up almost
Hmm.
having over 100 yards,
Yeah, oh
and
yeah, they
the
definitely ran
running
the ball
game,
well.
yeah, because the running game at the in the second half really set the tone because even with Landry Jones throwing for 305 yards, they really wasn't getting anything. You throw for 305 yards and you throw at 70% completion rate percentage, and you only put up 25 points. If it wasn't for Kurt, let's say if Artis Payne had like 60 yards, they could have easily lost this game.
Hmm.
So it's like, and that's one thing about the XFL and the way the game is set up in the scoring. I mean, when you look at it from different angles, the stats are very deceiving in these games. They're very deceiving. I mean, you can look at it one way and then you turn around and see what happened, And you'd be like, okay, how did that happen? Well, the games are kind of structured different. Like you look at the last game we talked about, Tampa Bay's stat column looked way better than Seattle's, but look who won the game. You know, so it's really different. But
the way I look at these XFL games, I kind of think back to the NFL in the 90s. I'm like, you were getting either scores, stats, and stuff like that. Not necessarily the rush. Well, rushing you would get certain stats like this because you could hone in on the rush back then. But yeah, a lot of these like completions percentages were in the 50s back in the day.
right.
Somebody go like 70% is
not even 70. I mean, if you got 61 or 62, that was insane back in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I agree. So
that goes to the people that try to continue to compare the XFL to the modern day NFL, and it's just like,
right. And not only that, I mean, you look at Dunbar as well. He had 6 of 42 yards. Like, you mean to tell me if they had like 30 yards less, this could have been a totally different game. Right. So I mean, kudos to Dallas for keeping them at bay. But I mean, and another thing, Josh Johnson, couple more possessions. I mean, because they started to catch fire at one point, and it was really. Let me look. Let's see, fourth quarter. Look, I mean, you got the last two, possessions they had, scoring possessions. I mean, they scored up the middle for a touchdown, and you had the deep ball to Spruce, and then they turn around and get 3-point attempt was successful. So it's like, if they would have stopped them, it could have been trouble because they had a little bit of momentum. So, so I mean, LA looked like they got their quarterback for right now. Let's see how things change for the following week.
Right.
Dallas, we'll see what they do as well. I still think I don't think they're the best team in the XFL.
Yeah, I think right now the way they're marketing because definitely with that intro video with Landry Jones talk about I've been they're definitely trying to stuff Dallas down people's throats, but not in DC. We are not taking any of that. So.
Now between DC and these next two teams. I can say 1A, 1B, and definitely the second. You got the Houston Roughnecks and the Battlehawks. This was the game that I watched. I watched all of them, but this game I really took a liking to because I picked the Seattle. I picked the St. Louis Battlehawks as my team in the XFL, and they played a damn good game against these guys. Very close. I would love to see these guys play again. Whether it be in the playoff or I think we play them later on down the season. I think they come to us or something like that. Nevertheless, two great good-looking quarterbacks.
Yeah, 6 touchdowns combined, both of them. So
right, and my only grief is the Tamu should have 1 interception on his stat line, but
the dude was offsides.
But he has 2.
Mm-hmm. Okay, what happened? Okay, did we get knocked off? I guess I'm still here. Okay, what's going on? I guess VF. You can't really hear VF. Hey, VF, we can't hear you. Yeah, that's what it looks like what happened. So let me see. I still had the stats up, but until he cuts back in. Just to add on to what he was saying, St. Louis and Houston, this was a good game. I was following it too. And I'm like, this was the game that ended the weekend for week 2. And I kind of did say that this was, memory serves me correctly, I did say this was going to be
Okay.
the game of
All
the
right.
week. Okay,
We're
there
good
you
now?
are.
We're good
Yeah,
now?
I can hear you now.
Okay, I don't know why, but my mic, I think I know what it is. I think I hit my blue snowball
Yeah,
mic.
because I heard a collision. I was thinking it was me, but then I had to check the.
I know, because I can
the
still hear you. You were good, but it's just I think I hit
mhm.
my snowball mic or something. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Let's
see,
get.
that's what happens when ref miss calls. VF gets angry, smacks down snowball mics, stuff
Shut
like
up.
that. So
All right, let me pull the stats back up. I'm sorry. Let me see. Share screen. Pull that up. There we go. Bam, bam. All right, there we go. Now we're back. We good? Yay! All right. Okay, like I said, I think these two teams and DC definitely you could put 1A, 1B easily of any of these three, and the next one to be number 2, and you won't be wrong. I like what I see out of all three of these teams. Houston has the more balanced team with the better offense. I think the Battlehawks have a balanced team with better defense. And I think the Houston Roughnecks are just a high-flying offensive team. I think their defense is somewhat suspect, but nevertheless, the high-flying offense, they trump all of that. So I think right now we're probably looking at 1A, 1B with DC and the Roughnecks, and St. Louis is number 2. I don't have
yeah,
much else to say with this game. I just hope that the bad call is not a sign of things to come. So I hope
but
they just
but
just
they're human.
yeah, that's true.
they're gonna struggle. Just like when players struggle, when teams struggles, the ref struggles too. So
Yeah, I mean it's understandable. I was mad because the game was just like so intense, and when you do look at the what happened throughout that game, like Houston could not get anything going at one point, and the Battlehawks like that whole second half they were like killing it, and they were really killing it. It was like they're about to take the lead. That drive, and that's the reason why he threw that ball. He threw the ball because he thought it was going to be a free play. And so, I mean, it's not like it was a bad read and he didn't see. He knew what was going on. So I don't chalk that up to him like not being a good quarterback. I mean, look, he's 30 for 37. I mean, he probably has like the stat line of the week when it comes to quarterbacks outside of the 2 interceptions.
well, I'll tell you what. Looking ahead, St. Louis gets to take their aggression out on those bum ass Guardians. That's gonna be, and New York's going to St. Louis, so that's gonna be I think that's gonna be a. I don't know if that's gonna be a shutout, but we'll see. When we do our picks Thursday, which I'm off on Thursdays, I did catch the intro. Tuesdays will be the only day I'll be just trickling in a little bit late, but Thursdays I'll be here.
All right, no problem. So I mean, you have anything else to add to that to the game? Because I mean, outside of the offsides, I think it was a great game.
Like I was saying earlier, I think it was going to be the game of the week, and it proved to be the game of the week. Like I said, St. Louis and Houston have the 2 most dangerous quarterbacks in the league. I'm like, they may want to stuff Landy Jones down people's throat, but he struggled this week in his first game back. And
Right.
Cardell Jones, if we look at the stats, is actually ahead of everybody right now. And let me just look at
Let me pull that up because I sure enough didn't even
yeah, because he's ahead in yards because you got Cardell at 5'11", you got Jordan Teamu at 493, and PJ Walker at 442, and then a full 100 yards less is Brandon Silvers, and then Landry Jones after one game at 305.
Okay.
Yeah, Matt Jones is leading the league in rushing, 129, with Devion Smith, 125, and then Jordan Teamu, 109.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I saw something in it. I honestly I thought Nick Fitzpatrick was going to be the starter, but clearly they saw something I didn't see in Tamu. I mean, I knew he was a good player in college. He played at Ole Miss, but
Right.
I knew I didn't think he was going to come on like this. I mean, it's good to see. I like what I see with my team. And real quick sneak peek before we jump to the Astros. Let's look right now. We got the Houston Roughnecks playing the Vipers. We got Dallas playing the Seattle Dragons or the Sea Dragons. We got the St. Louis Battlehawks playing against the Guardians. This is their first home game, so that's going to be interesting. And the Defenders' first time going on the road to play all the way out in LA against the Wildcats.
I think I think that may be a letdown game because of traveling out west.
Okay.
So we'll see.
We'll
That
see.
game, that it's the last game, so it may work in our advantage.
Yeah, it may
We'll
balance
see.
out for him.
We'll
We'll see.
see.
Definitely, we're gonna be doing our picks on Thursday. So be on the
Mhm.
lookout for that. Same time, same place. So that's what we're gonna be doing here. Uh,
Oh, and just to wrap things up, I did go 3-1 again, so I'm 6-2 on the season.
oh yeah. I forgot about that. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
and
did.
of course Bill's picking the same as I did. He went 3-1 as well,
I
but
end up going.
after,
I end up going 2-2, right?
yeah, I think he
Yeah,
did.
two and
Yep.
two. Yeah, I went 2-2. Yep. So that's how that
Yeah,
goes.
because you wanted people to pick the Guardians. I don't know what you were thinking.
Hey, listen, man. Listen. Did I
Shoot,
pick the
somebody
Guardians or did I pick Saint? Oh yeah, I
you
did pick the
picked,
Guardians. I
yeah,
picked the
you
Guardians.
picked the Guardians. Yeah,
I did. I did.
I remember everybody who picked the
Yeah, I said
Guardians.
I got it right here. I got it right
Especially
here.
people in the chat putting the Guardian symbol, the Discord, and what happened? Nothing. Y'all did absolutely nothing. You had to go back to MetLife Stadium, the half empty stadium, the half empty ass score. Fuck out of here.
All right, let's see what we got next. I need to pull this up real quick. You want to go ahead and lead with the Astros? Because yeah,
Yeah,
great Astros.
let me find my cheat sheet.
Because these guys here are just really acting up. If you haven't heard already, I don't know who the player is, but he can't keep a mic out of his face and constantly keep saying that they did nothing wrong.
Are you talking? I can't. I think it's Correa.
I
Carlos
don't
Correa.
I don't know who the kid is at all, but the dude just
Yeah,
can't shut up.
Oh man, I said this from the very beginning that they should have taken that championship away, at least vacated it. And they even have some Dodgers players that like they would rather it be vacated than them getting it due to it being taken away from the Astros. But Carlos Correa needs to shut the fuck up. Honestly. This man wants to go out here and counter everybody's comments with, well, according to the facts in the report. Well, according to the facts in the report, your ass cheated. So why are you saying anything? Right? Why are you saying anything at all? And it didn't. What makes this worse? It's not even just the players. The commissioner of the major fucking league baseball diminishing, devaluing the World Series trophy by saying it's just a piece of metal. What good is taking a piece of metal away? I'm like, it's
you know what? He's not making things even any better with what he's saying.
Okay, somebody brought up a good point I was listening to last night. You're gonna give immunity to the people who cheated the most? I'm like, and you're gonna punish the front office and whatever, at which it was clearly player driven. It makes absolutely no sense, and especially since we just seen in I guess I forgot that the soccer league over in Europe. You seen Manchester. I think it's Manchester City just got banned for 2 years for their financial whatever scandal that they're in. They can't even play in their league for 2 years, and it's just like, look, players should have been suspended on the Houston Astros. Altuve, Correa should have. He keeps talking. He needs to get suspended for the whole season because he's talking smack that he can't back up, and it's just ridiculous.
People are asking for Rob Manfred to resign.
He should. How can you? This man just does not have a spine at all. And I feel like that he's in on this, not just with the immunity. He's talking about, well, if somebody, and even though I don't agree with like throwing at the Astros batters, but I understand it completely. You don't sit there and threaten suspensions of players for doing that when you haven't threatened suspensions of the players who got caught cheating in the first place. Yeah, a manager was fired by the team. Assistant GM was fired by the team, not by the league. As far as I'm concerned, the league didn't do anything. I've already expressed what the fine should have been. It should have been a death sentence, not $5 million. It should have been like 25 to 50 million. The World Series trophy should have been vacated. They should have had first, second, and third round draft picks taken away for the next 3 years.
How many drafts they have? Like, they have a whole bunch of drafts, don't they? Like not how many rounds?
Usually it's like, I think it's 13 rounds in the
take 10 of them from them. 10 for the next 2 years.
No. Just the top two, just the top rounds. I would just say the top rounds. Look, let them struggle with those late round picks. Let them deal with that.
To me, if they get 13 rounds, I'll be a little bit lenient. I'll say either 3 for the next 3 years, or you take 7 for the next 2.
I'll take the first and second rounds for the next 5 years. If I want to add on, I'm applying for the death penalty. Like, that team financially should be where the Texas Rangers used to be when George Bush was running that team.
Hey man, why you got to do that?
I'm just saying. That's why I was like, why you vote for this man for president? He ran a team into the ground. He's gonna run the country into the ground. Look what he did. Look what he almost did.
Hold on. Which one are we talking about?
Junior.
Okay, all right. I'm about to say, the first one wasn't that bad.
The first one, he lied. No new taxes, and then he was voted out after 4 years.
Compared to what we seen, compared to him and his son, I think he was all right. But nevertheless, yeah, I mean, we're almost splitting hairs when we're talking about the picks, but and nevertheless, I get what you're saying.
I'm like, this is all the former baseball player in me that's just pissed off. It's just players on the Astros. The one person I feel sorry for is Dusty Baker.
Why did he take that job?
I don't know.
I don't feel bad for him because he took the job. I feel bad for him, going down the road because what he's about to go through. But I don't feel bad for him for taking that.
That's what I'm looking at. That's what I'm looking at, the fact that he has to defend a bunch of players that he had no knowledge. He wasn't part of the organization. They were cheating. They should have just. I'm like, the Astros almost should have just kept Finch in there, Hinch or whatever they want to call his cheating ass. Should have just kept him in there so he could take the brunt of those comments. Because if anything, you want your manager to speak mostly, not your players. Your players making dumbass comments, and then the last one takes the cake that Correa sat there and said. He said this man Altuve had a really bad tattoo, and that's why he was telling people don't rip my shirt or whatever.
He had a really bad tattoo.
Apparently, but here's the thing. What is it? Altuve, they were talking to him, I think, earlier that day, and he had a tattoo on that collar, but I think it was on his left collar, not his right. So he was kind of holding the right when there was clearly an indentation of a buzzer on his shirt. But that's another. And then another thing, and this is coming from Carlos Correa himself in a game. I've watched a video of this man. Like, the video had an extreme close up of the bat that he was using, and he's like practice swinging it, and then he goes to swing, and a piece flies off the bat. Now, normally when you have like a foreign object just fall to the ground, you just leave it alone. This man chooses to walk on over to it, picks it up, and stuffs it in his back pocket.
Right. I mean, it's really bad, and not only that, you have a lot of players that are not even playing for the team.
This is beyond the Patriots cheating. This is way beyond.
Yeah, it's beyond that. I mean, you have other players that are coming out saying stuff. Mike Trout has said something. Aaron Judge has said something. You got people outside. Oh yeah,
Aaron Judge he deleted his congratulatory tweet to Altuve.
Right, and then he
was just like, that doesn't mean anything anymore.
And then you also got people outside of baseball. LeBron James even tweeted something about it. So this is something that's going to be over the MLB's head this entire season. I mean, anytime that the Houston Astros are playing baseball, somebody's going to talk about it. And as soon as they talk about it, they win or they lose. It's going to be like, oh, they won. Oh, they're still cheating. If they lose, that's what they guys get. You know,
because the main thing is like the majority of the focus was 2017, but it's just like, well, you got 2018, you got 2019. Even
right.
like the Nationals were well prepared for what they were about to face, and it's funny that we won all the games in the World Series in their house. So,
Yep.
you know,
All right, it's going to be interesting to see how things happen throughout the coming months. You know, the season's going to be starting very soon. You know, they end the next month, so you can keep an eye on that. It's a shame that the MLB tried to get away from cheating all this time, and then all of a sudden it pops its head back up, and it looks really nasty for them right now.
the way I also look at it is that, yeah, it looks bad. I believe I think people will tune in initially just to see what happens, but eventually the ratings will go right back down, and the debate won't be about whether the NL needs a DH or whatnot, or to quicken the pace of the game. It's like, how can we let's see, because folks that don't understand baseball, there is cheating in the game, stealing signs and stuff like that, but it's the level at which the Astros went to do it
the level that they did it,
makes
right?
it
Exactly.
egregious. So, you start with the Astros, and I think they kind of went at the Red Sox, but it's just like, you have to set an example, and they didn't. And now, what if another team does it? What is Manfred going to do? Nothing. He's probably going to protect them too, especially if they win a World Series, because it means money for the league. And it's more attention for the league to keep it on a particular team, but it's gonna backfire. And yeah, this is horrible.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Mm-hmm.
Before we get to the next topic, what I have to do, I'm kind of obligated to do, because these folks on the other end does a great job of promoting our podcast, and so I'm going to play a ad of another podcast who's promoting ours on their end, and it's the Thirst and Gold podcast. Shout out to those guys. If you haven't checked them out, just Google them, you'll find them. They talk about football, and they talk about beer and wine and all the other type of beverages you may have while you're watching.
Did somebody say beer?
Yeah, exactly. Those things that you'll listen to or drink while you're watching football. So I'm going to play their ad real quick, and then we'll hit the last topic. Come on. Don't be shy. Is it playing? Nope.
Wow, that sounded very plausible.
There we go.
Do you love NFL football fun and booze? Join us at Thirst and Gold Podcast every Saturday night for weekly NFL coverage, whiskey, bourbon, scotch, and beer reviews. We mix expert football analysis with signature drinks, original segments, and lots of laughs.
Yes, that's right, football fans. Please join us at Thirst and Gold Podcast by heading over to thirstandgold.buzzsprout.com or search Thirst and Gold on the web. If you're tired of boring podcasts, come join our football party.
All right, that's who that is. That's Thirst and Gold podcast. And like I said, if you want to give them a try and just listen to what they have to say, I think they're a pretty good podcast. I listened to them a couple times, and they just came to me and asked me for, to give them a shout out on the podcast for a couple episodes, and they've been doing mine before I even asked. So I really appreciate that. And with that being said, check them out. Nice little ad right there they put together. Pretty cool guys. Nevertheless, let's jump over to the PlayStation 5 and its pricing. Did you know, DJ, that the pricing of the PlayStation 5 costs $450 to manufacture, and they're saying that the price for the PS5 could be $499?
Let's see. I remember you brought this up in a previous episode, like a while ago. So I was kind of aware of it. As far as the pricing outcome for the potential pricing outcome for the PS5, it's looking like that could undercut how much, even though number wise, $450 to make the console, $499, but typically you want to sell something that's $100 over what you made it, so you can make it back, make the cost back.
Now I want you to
faster.
I want you to know that a lot of consoles was made that was cost way more than they were way more than what they went to shelves with. Colin Moriarty, that guy, he put out a tweet about how much these consoles actually cost compared to how much they were sold for. So I want you to take a look at this. I'm going to put this up here on the screen so you can see it.
Mm-hmm.
Right,
yeah, because that whole thought process to me, just for me, would make common sense as far as you getting your profits back. But let's check this out.
All right, you see that?
Wow,
the U.S.
that
prices
is
of
crazy.
PlayStation consoles at launch, inflation adjusted, $511. It was for the PS1 was $299. PS2 was $452, $299. PlayStation 3, $779, $599. PS4, $451.15, $399. So if this gonna be a console that's around $450, I can see where now mind you, this is inflation, it's adjusted for inflation. So this is gonna be a little higher than what it is. So but you have to understand that if it's $499, I'll say around $499. Maybe it may be even at a loss and say 400 even $399 will probably be what it is.
That is crazy. I would have fired somebody if I was the president of Sony. But apparently, what they're aiming for is not necessarily. They're not worried about they're worried about like the active users. They're worried about building that base up. Because even though you're selling your console for less than what you made it for, you'll still not go even, but you'll still make a lot of money because it's more affordable. It's the lowest hanging fruit out of the different platforms. So I dig that strategy.
Yeah, because mind you, now if this $511 for 1995, you're probably looking at somewhere that's 25 years ago, adjusted for inflation. You're probably looking at somewhere around maybe like $310. You know what I'm saying? And for PS2, that was another 20 years ago. So at $452, we're probably looking at somewhere around maybe $350 or something like that. Because with inflation, how it works, like prices, the higher they go up, I mean numbers go down, but closer you get in time, the numbers kind of balance out. So even though that 511 may be like 310, 320, PS2, like I said, the PS2 maybe 450 could have probably been around 350. So it's just like they kind of balance out once it gets closer to modern times. PS3 was already, I think at one time the PlayStation 3 was like almost $1,000 to actually make at one point because of the shortage of the cell processor and stuff. So that $799 is probably not even, I think that got to be an average of all the PS3s that was produced. Because when the 60 and the 20 gig came out, that was a very expensive console. That's why it was $599 when it first came out. So I think that's just an average of all the PS3s compared to the 60 gig, 20 gig, the 120 gig, and so on and so on. Because they made like 4 different models of that, or maybe 5 different models of the PS3.
But
PS4,
you know what?
Oh, go ahead.
But you know what? With a Japanese company, I definitely now can understand their strategy of their pricing versus because like I was just saying moments ago, and you agree with it, was that they're reaching for the fan base, they're reaching for the users, the amount of users, because they talk about that amount of active users more than they do their sales.
But not only that, you have to understand the PlayStation model has always been the console is going to be this price. We're not trying to make money off the console. We're making money off the software sales. We're trying to make money off the games that you buy.
Because you got the first party titles that outnumber Microsoft's first party titles right then and there.
That is what, Sony took a model out of Nintendo's, not talking about their business practices, but they took a model out of what Nintendo format was as far as getting games to people. They'll give you they want you to get the console at a certain price. They're not budging on that until later on in the cycle. What they want to do is they're going to try to give you the deals off the games. Because, I mean, PlayStation was the first company that like gave like developers like 10 or 8% developmental fee. I mean, it was extremely low. That's why you saw, and then on top of that, they were using disc to make the games. You didn't have to use cartridges no more. That's why you saw the Final Fantasies jump over to PlayStation instead of Final Fantasy going to N64. And you saw other games that a lot of people who had different ideas for IPs. You saw a lot of new IPs come out for PlayStation 1. That's why that was so popular. Because like, yo, I only got to pay a 10% fee to make my game on your platform. All right, let's do it. Then on top of that, I don't have to worry about them bullshit ass cartridges no more. I can use like 12, 13-cent disc. It was very reasonable for developers to develop for the PlayStation 1. So after that, it just took off. And the DVD player in PS2, the Blu-ray player in PS3, PlayStation 4 just being user-friendly. And you wonder why these guys are on top all throughout this entire time. I mean, it just works. Now, PlayStation 5, I reserve judgment of who's going to be on top of this console generation because, I mean, quite frankly, I don't look at these as consoles anymore. They're basically selling you PCs with their brand on it. That's the way I look at it now. I mean, they're doing games and services. They're trying to do these streaming services and digital download damn near only everywhere you go. It's like I just look at it like these gonna be some Steam machines with Sony and Xbox brands on the box. So I don't know how it's gonna go, but so when you look at this, DJ, are you willing to buy a console at $499 or let's say for instance $479?
Because I definitely liked it at $399. I would be hesitant to get it at $499 because now you're starting to get into the PC realm for pricing, and I can go and buy individual parts and probably make a better platform on PC for $499. That's why I didn't. That's why I said at first I didn't go for the Xbox One because it was just too much. $399 was perfect for me.
Yeah, because the Xbox One came out at $499 with the Kinect, and they said it had to be a part of the console.
Yeah, and then it was still $499 without it.
Right.
So
yeah, I mean, I'm not going to go into this. I'm not going down this rabbit hole, but yeah, at $499, you can make a very good, especially with the graphics cards going down now. For some reason, they're getting cheaper. You can at $499, you can make a really good PC that probably is better than what the PS5 and Xbox One, Xbox Series is offering. At $499, you can make and you can do more with it, but. No, nevertheless, I mean, I'm reserving judgment because I'm like on the edge of saying like I'm probably gonna be out of the console business, even though I have all these consoles. I don't think I'm gonna get another one. I may go back and buy my Pro, and that might be it because I definitely have no desire of buying an Xbox. I mean, not when they even said it themselves that they're competing with Amazon and Stadia and Nvidia streaming service. They care less about Nintendo and Sony, so they're not even trying to put things out on a console level to benefit us because they know that they even said they're not even trying to compete with them. So I'm not even thinking on that level. My thing is like the PlayStation gotta have some badass exclusives. They gotta come with the exclusives. If they don't, I'm going to be playing Last of Us 2 on the Pro, and my Pro might blow up because it just can't handle it, but long as it blow up after I finish the game, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? It's just that, I mean, and I'm not, I was going to make a video about this one as well. It's like, I'm not trying to say that this is the end of consoles. I think I said this earlier in the last podcast before we get started. I'm getting to the point where I have enough games. I truly have enough games in damn near every genre for the rest of my life. And I'm not saying that to brag because I know there's other people who have way better collections than I do. I have nothing compared to what these other people got. But I have enough to say, like, you know what? I can continue to build off what I got and find, like, say if I find an interesting PlayStation 3 game that I want to get, or like today, I got a GameCube game that I wanted to get. It's like a Hot Wheels racing game for my GameCube. See, that right there satisfies me instead of worrying about being a dry season on the PlayStation 5 because the exclusive's just not what I want to play. I'm going to be paying $500 for something that I may play maybe 4 games on. Especially when I have a PC that and let's not even talk about that. Sony's already, they're already flirting with putting their games on PC. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I don't want it to be that way because I love consoles. I'm a tech person. I love buying consoles and playing with. I like the uniqueness of them. But if they're going the route where they're trying to damn near give us a PC with their brand on it, I mean, I'm not telling nobody not to waste their money because there's some people that like consoles and they play consoles the way they are. No problem with that. But I'm just saying, for me, I've been building what I got in this room for almost 10 years. I have enough. I mean, just come out with some badass exclusives and you may have my money. I'm talking about maybe like DJ, it has to be like on a level damn near like how Dreamcast was when Dreamcast came out. Like when the Dreamcast came out, they had like 15 exclusives to come out.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they had a shitload of them. So it has to be somewhere near that level. So I don't know. I just don't see myself paying $500 and I'm going to be playing Last of Us 2 and maybe Horizon Zero Dawn. Well, Horizon Zero Dawn, they're talking about going to PS2, so the second one probably be there too. Especially if the first one does well. So they go put the second one. So it's like right now I'm looking at Last of Us 2 and Gran Turismo 7. You know what I'm saying? It's like or the Neo games or whatever else, the Bloodborne 2. It's maybe like 5 games I'm looking for. Is that worth $500?
Mm-hmm.
It just makes you think because. Man, I don't know. Maybe I'm tripping. Maybe I have a different tune when E3 comes around, or when the PlayStation version of E3 comes around. I don't know.
The PlayStation version of E3.
Yeah, because they're not going to be at E3.
Is dead.
Yeah, pretty much. Nintendo Direct, Xbox doing their own thing. So E3 is just like they might as well. The PC community just might as well just take over E3 at this point. Just say fuck it, we're just here. So. Any extra thoughts about the PlayStation 5 and not only that price point? What do you think about the exclusive as well?
Well, it better not come with the coronavirus 19.
Man, why did you have to bring that up?
Let's not even talk about the people that would be mad if that and Xbox were to get delayed. And it's funny that Xbox would get delayed too. But the thing is, I'm more worried about the people getting better. This whole plague or sickness goes down and everyone gets treated. People have died over this disease, so no one should be getting mad if the consoles get delayed because of it, because the parts come from China. We all know we
that that is a whole nother
from China for everything,
and that is a whole nother topic that we didn't even talk about, like the parts coming from there and the epidemic that's going on. We talked about this when we finished the podcast. I don't think those numbers are what they say they are as far as people actually dying.
Oh, yeah, they're way higher.
But that's another topic.
Here's one game that you can play right now that will mimic everything that's going on. I literally did this. I started a plague in China and, shit just spread. And you can do this with any other country. It's not just China. So, not dissing my Chinese people out here. But yeah, it's called Plague Inc. That game. You can play. It's available on PC. You can play it on mobile, and it's just like a touch and click type of game. And you're the disease, and you're trying to kill everybody in the world, and you try to affect as many people as possible through different means, and you mutate into this, and you develop an antibody for that, and eventually the world will try to develop a cure, but if you're fast enough and you're lethal enough, you'll kill the whole world and win. And there's like different things you can do. But yeah, that's what's going on right now. And there are cases in the United States. So have fun.
I'm gonna hit I want to hit a couple of these topics, or not topics, but a couple of these comments real quick. Ravens Nation came up with a couple of good ones.
Oh yeah, this is the first time you've gone without even pointing out a comment. Wow, right, and this is Q&A Tuesday.
I know, but there's no Q's out here. Anyway, my issue is even the price. The problem is I feel like the consoles aren't producing what I think they should. The Pro should have been able to do 4K 60 for $400 in 2019.
I'm not really caring about 4K.
But yeah. In 20, never mind. He said in 2019. Okay, I got now. I'm misconstruing it because I believe that the Pro should have been the actual console that came out in 2013.
Yep.
I believe that, and as well as the Xbox One X should have been the console that came out in 2013. They shortchanged us on that. Now 4K 60 in 2013. Yeah, I don't know about 20, but 2019, I can get it in 2019. I agree with 2019. Yeah. But 4K, you got to think about it. 6 years ago, 4K was even
but
brutal
you know what?
Back then.
But you know what? People became graphics whores this generation. So like,
for no reason.
But it's understandable that people want 4K 60 frames per second because they don't want to go on PC, which can easily do it if you get the right parts.
But we're saying that now, but was that really the case in 2013? I don't think that was the deal in 2013.
No, people could do that in 2013.
No, they could, but I'm just saying for console games, I don't think that. I think for console
gamers,
I think in 2013, I think the consoles just wanted 1080p 60. I believe
the consoles may have wanted it, but the people were expecting more. In 2013, Xbox and Sony both kind of teased that they could do that.
Now, see, I can honestly say I am not the one to say that I know this because even though I was around when all these consoles come out, I didn't hear too many people push for 4K. Now I've heard that the PC side was already doing it.
Yeah, the influence came from the PC side.
Right. And I think that a lot of people was just happy to have 1080p gaming because the 360 did a lot of games in 1080p. The PS3 did a lot of games in 720p, but they did not have the maximum 1080p 60. I think what happened is when the Pro came out, it was the Pro that started this. When the Pro came out and the Pro started pushing that 4K stuff, that's when everybody was thinking that the Pro and then the Xbox One S, then the Xbox One X was going to be on the level of those right there. So I think that I think that's where I don't think it started in 2013. I think it was like when was these consoles came? 2017. I think that's when people started to push and say, "Hey, we need to have 4K 60." And I do agree. At that point, these consoles should have been locked at 4K at least. For all games, not checkerboard shit. I think they should have been 4K coming out when they did, but I also think that these consoles should have been out.
Yeah,
these consoles should have been the consoles that came out initially.
And to tell you the truth, the Pro shouldn't have had any reason to sound like a jet.
Yeah, I was just about to get to that
point.
I was just about to get to that.
That's inexcusable. I know they made a version later that reduced it, right?
On. But the one I had, really, man, you played God of War at high the high performance. That thing just started to take off.
And then on top of that, if you try to play MLB The Show at a top performance, it runs into stuttering issues,
and that makes no sense. How in the hell?
Especially your first
baseball
title.
Game.
But it's not even just a baseball team. It's a first party title that's that's having issues running, and the jet engines are blaring on while you're playing it. And it's just like, come on, really?
All right,
you built the game for this. You mean to tell me this console can't handle it?
No, because before I get to this comment, you got to think about it. Look at the consoles the prior generation. Even though the Xbox did a lot of games at 1080p, it was essentially a 720p console.
Man, I would go as far back and say Dreamcast did 60 frames per second at one point.
The Dreamcast and the PS2, especially the PS2, they had to run their games at 60 frames. And if you look up, there's a video out there telling you why that the PS2 had to be at 60 frames. The Dreamcast was just 60 frames because it was just the console was just built very well. A lot of people don't realize that the Dreamcast was basically like an arcade board. It was just basically like an arcade board, a Naomi arcade board in a console. So that's why it ran very good. Ravens Nation also say, along with exclusives not being as good as they were 10 years ago, $500 is not worth The Last of Us 2 and maybe another Spider-Man. I agree that $500 is not worth a Last of Us 2, another Spider-Man, or another Horizon Zero Dawn, and Gran Turismo.
Especially when these games may wind up on PC anyway.
Right. I just don't. I mean, that's where my dilemma comes in. Because I was like, like right now, I have the money saved up for a $4.99 console, but I thought the console was gonna be $3.99. I'll
See,
just buy some accessories. But right now, I'm looking like, even though I had the money, like it's just gonna sit here, and I'm gonna play a couple of games and be done with them within a week's time, and it's just gonna sit here.
yeah, that's why these console wars and these fanboys are full of shit because they got their favorite console choice along with the PC and as their backup. So I don't want to hear anything about favoring a console over another.
Right.
When it comes to getting what you really want out of gaming, and where everyone knows at the end of the day the PC will have the best option. So
Goob also says Sony better have the airplane engine sound figured out for the PS5, just like we
yep,
said. Ravens Nation says that who do we blame more, the consoles or the company for making video
the
games? Or both?
console company. So I would blame Sony for the jet engine.
Who do you blame more for making the video games the way they are? Oh,
No,
the consoles and the companies are almost like one and the same, right?
no, because one
Oh,
software,
you talking about
hardware.
the video, you talking
Yeah,
about the gaming companies, not the actual console company.
yeah,
I got you.
yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
I blame the consoles to holding them back. They just haven't given us the console that's actually just powerful enough, because it makes no sense for God of War to be like struggling the way they did on because like even you had other consoles that pushed the limit, other games that pushed the limit of consoles. Like you look at The Last of Us on the PS3, that pushed the console, but it still wasn't a problem. Red Dead Redemption 2 pushed the limit on the 360, but it wasn't. You didn't hear the problems. Like you can tell, like they were able to make the game work. You had pretty much, it was either 30 frames or it was nothing at all. And I can respect that because they understood that these consoles are 720p, 30 frames per second consoles. They pushed the graphics, the hellified graphics out of those consoles, but they never compromised what they could do with it. But this time, like we said with Ravens Nation right here, 1440p at the minimum. I agree with that. I think they should have went with 1440p for all these consoles. Honestly, the first console should have came out at 1440p. The Pro had so many drops in frame rate in Final Fantasy. Exactly. Because they were just trying to do too much. It's like,
And especially, but there's still issues on the Pro with recording game footage where it skips a couple of seconds. Like it didn't record like a second here, a second there. So when you go and watch through your playback, you'll notice that you'll be missing some footage while recording. So it's just like you didn't take care of that. There's not a good, and that mainly comes from the max that you can record on a PS4 Pro is at 1080.
right.
That's the max you can record. So if you're playing the game at 1440 or even in 4K, God forbid, your conversion is going to be not the best, and especially you're playing with HDR and it's converting downward.
Let's not talk about that. That just makes it worse. Yeah.
If I compared two games that I'm playing right now, Shadow of Mordor, when it came out, it didn't have the I don't think it had the HDR.
They put a 4K patch in that game too.
Yeah, and that looks far better than Shadow of War. Because when you record Shadow of War and then you look at the footage, it looks nasty. Like even like the graphics itself, I'm like, everyone knew that Shadow of War graphically was a downgrade to Shadow of Mordor.
Right.
But the results from the recording just made it look way worse.
Yeah, I mean it does. It's not even just the PS4. I noticed that with a couple of capture cards.
And then even with Xbox, Bills kept talking about this. You can't,
no, you can't even stream it. I mean, you can't even record and talk over. You can't even talk over your
these
over your
consoles
recording.
need to really like these upcoming consoles, whatever the Xbox Series X and the PS5 have to address. They had to address those issues before. They should be addressing these issues, and hopefully that's what they're doing for this next console generation, because if not, if we hear another jet engine in our bedroom, living room, whatever, and if we can't stream and talk, then people are going to be flocking to either the Switch or PC or these streaming companies, except for Stadia. Stadia still be
Well, let's not even talk about
Stadia
that.
would be like the Blockbuster Video of streaming.
Yeah, let's not talk about them. Stadia, God, people still play that thing.
Well, they are coming. I think they just went past their the trial period, so I don't know. We'll see the numbers of whoever stayed on.
Yeah, I need the numbers to find out who all backed out of that shit. Like, fuck this, you're not charging me for this shit no more.
Right, exactly.
Anything else you want to add before we go? I just think that the PS5 is going to be a decent console. I just think it's not going to be for me.
I think they're both going to be decent consoles, but at the end of the day, it's about the games. You gotta have the games, and it doesn't matter how many companies or studios that Xbox and Microsoft bought to be first-party studios. I know Undead Labs. I wish they would have stayed independent, but you know what? They did what they had to do,
right?
And let's just see if those studios under Microsoft can put out some games, because that's what everybody was looking for. Games. They weren't looking for the features. They weren't trying to be graphics whores. If they just wanted the games.
I'm gonna tell you something right now. All them first party titles are coming to PC, so I really, it's just another reason that the Xbox. I mean, very unique looking console, but I mean, they really don't. They're telling us that they don't care about the Xbox console side of things.
Because State of Decay 2 is finally gonna release out on Steam March. I think it was March 13th. I know on Twitter I said 14th, but March 13th.
That's the thing, DJ. It's not the fact that they're putting them on Windows Store. They're putting the games on Steam. That's what makes it worse. It's like, if you want to put it on Windows, I mean, Microsoft owns Windows. I get it. Okay, you put your games on Windows Store, Game Store, I get it. But you're putting this shit out on Steam. It's like you really don't care.
And the funny thing is, with the State of Decay 2 update, they revamped the graphics. They're gonna include heavy weapons, a new map, and they're gonna be bigger bases. This is pretty much the people who play State of Decay 2, like myself, like my dude Brian Menard. Shout out to him. He's done like several series of State of Decay 2 that's been challenging. You add your own rules to this game, you can make it along with the Nightmare Plus difficulty, you can make the game way worse for yourself as far as like the challenge you have to face. Like right now, he has a crafting only series where you can only craft the weapons. You can scavenge for whatever, but you have to scrap it for parts. I think that's the main rule. But yeah,
okay.
The community. I think the community will be happy when the game sort of relaunch. I say relaunches on 3/13. So
yeah, one thing I can say about that community, I mean, people give that game a bad rap, but they have a pretty good thriving community over there in State of Decay. That's pretty cool. I like to see stuff like that. I mean, like this, once again, it's like, it goes back to what we said in the beginning of this podcast. Like, nobody cares about what you're really playing when you're at your home playing the games. If you're having fun, that's all that matters. Don't let other people persuade you to play other things just because their channel or what they say on a specific video says so. That doesn't mean you're no different from anybody else because you decide to play such and such and somebody else don't. Enjoying gaming is a very personal satisfaction situation, and it's always going to be that way. Nobody else should tell you how to game and what the game or whatever. It is what it is. So, all right, let's hit the outros. DJ, what you got?
Well, like I announced earlier, and with VF alluded to before, I'll be like straggling in here on Tuesdays, but I will be here in full on Thursdays. Looking forward to this week's XFL games. I'll definitely be able to catch DC because their game is on Sunday. And really enjoying gaming at the moment with the Shadow of Mordor and Shadow of War. It's digging back into the archives a bit, but gaming is not as dry as people make it out to be.
It really is.
I'm all for it. So
it really
I'm
isn't.
good.
People say it's dry out here. They're lying to themselves and they're lying to everybody else. Too many games come out on a weekly basis to say it's dry.
The way I look at it is that people drink too much soda, so when there's only water remaining, they say, "Hey, I can't drink that. It doesn't have enough pep to it." But
that's a great analogy.
So
that is a really good analogy. But as for me, I've been playing some of Division 2. I'm learning about.
Yeah, I've been playing that too. Yes,
I've been learning about this Uplay on PC because I have it. I've had it for a while, but I went back to it and I've been using Uplay. It's a nice little client. So I've been playing that on PC. I've been playing. Obviously, I've been playing Madden 08. I'm trying to catch up with that because my NCAA 08, that season is almost done. I have the Orange Bowl to do. So when I do the Orange Bowl, I'm gonna then I'll finish up and we'll do the draft classes together. Also, I have an arcade stick that's broken, and I need to get it fixed.
Wow.
Yeah. I happened to look at the cord, and the cord is split, and I can't do anything with it. It's my 360 arcade stick, and I need it. So I'm on the lookout to buy another one of those or getting that one repaired. So other than that, everything's fine. Shout out to everybody who's been here throughout this podcast. Thanks for everybody who supported the last video I did on Grand Theft Auto, the guidebook. I got a few more coming with that, and it's going to get really interesting what books I pick up because I've been out there looking, and there's some really good ones that are coming our way, so we can discuss those as well. Also, check us out on Discord. Definitely. You go on the Discord, we talk about XFL pretty much all week, especially on the weekends. We talk about other stuff as far as gaming. It's a good time in there. I highly recommend joining the Discord. We have fun in there, and like I said, it's well worth it. Twitter, you know where to find us on Twitter. I'll put our Twitter handles right here on the banner. VF Baller, DJ's DJ81, Bills is JMBMJ. Find us on there. Also, we're also on Google Play. Just hit just go to your whatever your search engine is. Type in First and Framerates podcast. The Google podcast one to come up. The iTunes one, the SoundCloud. Hell, even Podcast Addict might even show up. I highly recommend that app. I mean, they're not paying us, but I like that app. It's a really good app where you can put all your podcasts into one area, and it's very convenient to use. So outside of that, we are good. Thursday, we'll be back at 7:30. We're going to talk about these XFL Week 3 picks, and we may get into some more stuff as we will get into more stuff as far as sports and gaming. So I think that's the end of the night, and you guys take it easy. Peace.
Peace and fuck out of here, Guardians, DC Defenders, all day, every day.
Real quick. My son learned how to walk this past week, and he's been. Yeah, it's a gift and a curse because I don't know if you can hear him. He's yelling right now because he's jumping.
I can hear him.
He's jumping on the bed. It's 9:00 and he's jumping on the bed. He needs to go to bed.
Yeah, he heard the Defenders shut out the Guardians too. That's why he's jumping up and down. He's like, "I'm a Defender for life."
But yeah, he's learned how to walk, so that's great. He's doing well. So, all right, we'll see you guys next time. Peace.
Peace.